Welcome. To create an email sign-up form in Brevo, from the left navigation, click on Contacts, then click on Forms. Click the button to create a new subscription form. Be aware that before you can send confirmation emails for the sign-up, you have to contact customer service to activate it for you. Before that happens, you can still receive submissions and it'll give the users confirmation that the form has submitted and add them to the list, but you'll still need to take steps in order to send an actual confirmation email if you want to do that. Give your form a name. If you have European audience or anyone who might be from Europe, enable the GDPR fields. Click Next. Design your form in the form builder. You can add these blocks from the left side into your form. So if you want to add a block of text, for example, you can just click and drag it. Or you can edit the form, the elements of the form directly in the builder. We can call this, we can get rid of this just to simplify the form. If you want to collect more first-party data, go down to the field section and drag over the elements that you want. For example, you can add a field for first name. So for this attribute, click on the drop-down menu and select first name. And then configure the rest of these settings as you desire. I simplified these fields by removing the help text, and then I didn't make the name a required field. So we can go back to the form builder, add other fields like an attribute. An attribute can only be text-based, like these: SMS number, last name, meetings. If you want to add another attribute, you can create one in the contact attributes section. Click on add a new attribute, type in the attribute name, and make sure it's on text. If you want to give your audience the option to subscribe to multiple lists, use the field for multi-list subscription. Then choose the list that they can subscribe to by clicking on this drop down and select as many as you want. You can use the checkbox option or the multi-select drop down option. If you want to create a new list, click on this link down here and click to create a new list and enter the name of your list to create it. You can offer them an input with a single choice response with this field here. When you drag it over, select the attribute that you want to use from this drop down. Select the display option to either radio buttons or a drop down list. I would use a drop down list to make the form seem shorter. If you want to create a new attribute, click on this link down here. When you're on the attributes page, click on add a new attribute, give the attribute a name, and make sure you change the attribute type to category and add your various categories. Click OK. Another type of input you can provide is the checkbox field. You can drag it over and choose the attribute from the list. They should make this a multi-option checkbox, but unfortunately you would have to add it one by one. So you can create a new attribute, and when you create the new attribute, choose the Boolean type and then give it a name. If you create new attributes that you want to add to this form, before you add them, before you see them in the drop-down list, click on Next so it saves your progress, and then go back up and click on Return to this step in the design section. Then you should see your new attribute in whatever field that you want to add. You can add a CAPTCHA if you have a CAPTCHA setup with another service. Click on the Form Design tab to edit the settings here. You can edit the different settings for the text, the title, change all these font settings here for labels, help text, etc. You can change the writing direction. You can change the background color, or you can use an image You can change the entire container from vertical to horizontal like this. There are the settings for the button here where you can change the alignment, the font, background, and the corners. You can see how the error states and the success state look like. You can also change the spacing as well. All in all, I would make the form as simple as possible so you can increase the conversion rates for the form submissions. But it's also great if you can collect more information from your users for first-party data. So there's a balance that you have to find, but you'll have to test out different settings and different layouts to optimize your form submissions. I would try different form titles. I would try different calls to action. I would try different colors for the call to action for the button to make it stand out more. I would also think about the location of these forms, where you place them, what pages you place them on, and where they pop up. And when you make these changes, when you implement these new variations, keep track of what works and what doesn't. For a proper A/B test, make sure you're not making too many changes at once, because you want to collect enough data to see how the changes, how the variations actually impact the customer, the user behavior, and whether they are converting by submitting your form. When you're done with that, click on Next. Select the list that you want to add your signups to. There's also an option to create a new list right here as well. Click on Next. Configure the settings for the confirmation of the form submission. If you want to send confirmation emails, you'll have to contact customer service to activate it. You can still send them to a confirmation page with either the default thank you page or your own custom URL. And there are settings, advanced settings, that you can configure. For example, if you want to hide the form once the form has been submitted. In the next section, you can customize the messages for the success message, invalid user information, error messages, and for empty fields. Then you can share your form. You can copy a link, use a QR code. You can preview your form to see how it looks like on an actual web page. You can embed the form with an iframe or an HTML. And then click on Done. If you found this helpful, like the video and comment. If you want more content on working with digital marketing, audience, customer, or user data, subscribe to the channel.